away, Dixie, steady as she goes, on her way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Ride aboard that River Queen, and it's many game of fortune I've seen. Well, once I lost $1 million, but I want it back again, on the way from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, yeah. Hi, Mississippi, roll along, that lazy river, sing your song. And it's away, Dixie, steady as she goes, on her way down to the Gulf of Mexico. I used to ride aboard that River Queen, and it's many game of fortune I've seen. Well, once I lost $1 million, but I want it back again, on the way from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. Yeah, hi, Mississippi, roll along, that lazy river, sing a song. And it's away, Dixie, steady as she goes, on her way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And it's away, Dixie, steady as she goes, on your way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Whoa, whoa.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I want to welcome you to the North Cascades Bluegrass Festival's Streaming with the Pros. Our festival is held over Labor Day weekend every year. This year's festival starts next weekend, September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, with camping starting this Tuesday through the following Tuesday, September 6th. Today, we are joined by Mr. Greg Linder. Please welcome him, and let's get started. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Greg. Hello.
How are things going with you?
Going real good.
Good. Well, today is first. Greg is the go-to person for the Bluegrass from the Forest Festival. And the festival is produced by the Christmas Town Kiwanis Club. Greg and I have been collaborating with each other since the start of our festival by sharing key tips on running a festival. Tell us about your festival, Greg.
Well, we started our festival back in the year 2005. It was me and my friend Dwayne standing in the parking lot of Lumberman's store down in Shelton, and I said, hey, what do you think about starting a festival? And that's what we did. And so from day one, we've been doing this every single year except for COVID, and it's been quite successful.
That's awesome. When did Runaway Train form?
We formed in the year 2000.
2000. So take a moment to share what attracted you and how you got started in bluegrass music. Greg, can I ask a favor before you answer that?
Yeah.
Can you look at me if your echo cancellation is turned on or off? I'm getting an echo.
Okay, well, I could probably turn that on if it's off. Echo cancellation, it's on.
All right, great. Thank you very much. I got a little bit of echo, so I don't know what's going on there, but we'll try and go for it.
I just turned it on. So
okay, great. Yeah, so take a moment to tell us what attracted you to
in the bluegrass down in back in about 1980. I went to my first bluegrass festival. Actually, my wife introduced me to it. She said, let's go to the Tumwater Bluegrass Festival. And that's what we did. And from that festival on, I was hooked. I just was impressed by the quality, the band quality, and especially the jams that went on. I'd never been exposed to that kind of thing before. But anyway, from that day on, I was in bluegrass, and I was invited by a person named Jess Stromberg to come to his Monday night jam, which I started doing. I did that for 20 years.
Wow.
And out of that jam session, quite a few bands have formed, from the Old Hop Valley Boys to Rural Delivery to Caravan, Caravan, which was a former band of mine too. And
Wow.
yeah, it was quite an experience going to that jam every Monday. And I started going to the different festivals in the area. I'm hooked.
Good. So you kind of answered a little bit, but when did Runaway Train form?
We formed in the year 2000. And
2000.
yeah, it formed out of actually out of a jam session. And me and some friends from the Olympia area started the band. And we started a Monday night show at the Fishtail Brewery in Olympia. We started doing that. We did that every Monday night. We started with maybe a dozen people in there, but we started packing the place after a while, with especially a lot of the college crowd. And we did that for 4 years straight.
4 years.
And then we took a break, and now it just carried on from there. We started, we've done quite a few festivals. We've done most of the Northwest festivals, including Wintergrass and the Gorge, and all the Northwest festivals we've done in since then. So
tell us about your band members who'll be performing at this year's North Cascades Bluegrass Festival.
Well, we got Kent Powell, who I'm sure you know well. He's been in several bands, including Crossfire. He's been with our band the longest of the current formation. And John White, Kent plays bass. John White plays mandolin. He's from Olympia. Excellent mandolin player and singer. And at the festival this year is going to be Rick Aarons on banjo, and he has played with us in the past too. He's a very unique, he has a very unique style of playing, and is really a nice person. So
yeah, it's great. I remember jamming with you and Rick at some of the festivals. Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing him.
I love his playing. So we've had several banjo players rotating through the group, so it's not always just one person, not always the same person.
Yeah. Greg, you've traveled many festivals, private events, etc. You've done. Tell us about one of your best experiences on the road, and then tell us one about your worst experiences. Sometimes things don't go as planned, so you get to go, what's your best and what's your worst that you can remember?
Oh, shoot. I think one of my best is when we played Wintergrass. Well, we played it a few times, but getting to play on the main stage at Wintergrass, the Grand Ballroom stage, is pretty exciting and scary at the same time. I mean, you feel like you're in the spotlight and really get a little nervous, but looking back on it, it was one of my favorite experiences. So
great.
Worst experience? Shoot, what could that be?
You don't have to name names.
Okay, I won't.
You can name names, but you don't have to.
I think one of the times, I can't remember which festival it was, but the string broke right at a very precise time that I really needed to play that lead break.
Oh,
it's not fun. I hate changing strings.
So what's the furthest venue away from your home where Runaway Train has performed?
Oh, it's mainly the Northwest. Well, we played down up as far as Vancouver, Chemainus on Vancouver Island, I suppose. Probably the furthest. We're pretty much Northwest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's not too personal, tell us about your family and what they do.
Okay. We have two kids, Austin and Jackson. Austin is our youngest. He lives here in Union, and he is self-employed as a carpenter, as am I. And he moved over to Ellensburg for several years, bought a house, sold the house, moved back here to Union, which is where he is now. So still doing carpentry, finished carpentry, etc., plus fences, all kinds of stuff. So Jackson is our oldest son. He is an excellent sound person. He's a very techie person, where he's the go-to person when we need help with anything electronic. He lives across the street from us.
Oh,
He does sound for our Bluegrass Festival, Bluegrass in the Forest. He does sound for several other festivals in the Northwest, including, he works at Wintergrass at one of the stages every year.
did you Rainier?
He's doing Rainier as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in several other festivals. He just did the Winterlock Festival. He does our festival, Bluegrass in the Forest. And he's just, when he does sound, we don't have any issues. It's always a good experience. Not to brag.
Yeah. I'll get to interject here before you talk about your lovely wife.
Okay.
Jackson is a genius, in my opinion, when it comes to sound. He didn't he do Kashmir this year as well?
He did Kashmir this year.
Yeah. He is one of the best sound engineers for creating that blend where no one's overpowering somebody else and the blend just comes together. He's awesome. I actually asked for his advice when we first started ours. And so shout out to Jackson. He's an awesome sound engineer.
He's a very understated person. Doesn't like to brag or anything, but I brag about him.
I brag about him. He's not even my son.
A lot of people do. So it's great to have him as a sound person because we have no worries.
It was great when we asked him to come and take a look at what we were doing at Hovander Homestead and with the True Sound folks. And he said, yeah, you're fine. They're doing everything right. So that was encouraging.
And that's who you use now, right?
They've been with us the whole time, all 5 years.
That's nice. Yeah.
Your lovely bride.
My wife, Dusty, we got married in 1972. Yesterday was our 50th anniversary.
Congratulations. Happy anniversary. That's a milestone. So
we went out and had dinner last night at the local resort, Alderbrook Inn, and which we never do. But that was really nice. And we're going to go for another 50 years.
Good.
And
That's
she
great.
We met out in the Wilderness Coast out at Ozette, Olympic Peninsula, and we hiked many miles together up in the wilderness, and she has continued her wilderness adventures and traveling. Well, I got kind of stuck into the Bluegrass Festival mode, but we go together sometimes. We're going to go together next month for 2 weeks in our little 1985 Toyota RV. And anyway, she's we have survived 50 years.
That's great. 50th anniversaries are special to me because it's how I got started in bluegrass. And
Really?
my mom and dad had their 50th wedding anniversary, so I decided I would learn them because I hated bluegrass and country music growing up. So I decided to try to learn their music and be involved in their lives that way. And on their 50th anniversary, I was able to take my mandolin and play 3 songs. I think it was Will Circle Being Broken and Tennessee Waltz and I'll Fly Away, if I'm not mistaken. And I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the music. And now I'm co-founder of a bluegrass festival.
You are. And
so anytime I hear 50th anniversary, that's very endearing for my parents. So anyway, enough about me. If you had a choice of collaborating with another band to write and perform a song together, who would it be?
I think it might be Special Consensus.
Awesome.
We are pretty much a cover band, and we choose material that suits us. We go, someone will bring up a suggestion for a song, and if we don't all like it, we won't do it. But, that's the way it is.
Yeah,
we're a fairly democratic band, and if we like it, quite often we do it. But we are a cover band.
okay.
But which doesn't bother me that we don't write our own songs for the most part.
It's all right. I've heard you play. You guys sound really wonderful. So, Greg, I know you appreciate humor, and we'll have a little bit more later in the show.
Yeah.
Tell us a couple of funny stories when you were on the road or performing.
Funny stories.
They can involve Kent if you like.
It could involve Kent. It could involve Kent. Kent's our joke teller.
Yeah.
He's our MC. Any specific things, I mean, I just laugh at his jokes. In fact, he's told jokes, and sometimes we start playing a song and we all crack up. We can't finish the song, you know.
It's okay. I don't want to put you on the spot. If nothing comes to mind, that's okay. That's funny. Greg, today, especially after the first 2 taxing years of COVID, what would you say Runaway Train's biggest challenges in performing?
I guess after COVID, you say, after not having played that much,
Right.
I guess one of our biggest challenges is to be getting together again and working up new material, and brushing up on the old stuff, which we have done. I guess the challenge, one of the challenges of a band is keeping everyone interested, and everyone being excited about playing. I mean, if there's any one of us 4 that's not excited about playing, it kind of drags the rest of us down. So far we're doing pretty well in that regard. We've started, getting together more regularly, and we have several gigs coming up, including Wintergrass. We're asked to do that. We're asked to do a festival in Montana, a new one, and that may well happen next year. And several private events. We've got several things coming up, so we have an incentive to keep going, keep practicing, work new stuff up. So that's exciting.
Yeah. I mentioned.
And, it's always a question mark how long this band will continue going. I mean, at this point, I feel confident. We're just fine working next several months, next year. We got things a year ahead, so cool. I think we'll keep going. And every one of us plays off the other person in the band. And we have to be really together. Otherwise things just don't gel. But at this point, things are doing really well. So
great.
Really happy.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week in person and jamming with you.
Yeah,
I love getting together and jamming with your cronies and my cronies. Love doing that. I'm going to go into my Dirty Dozen rapid fire segment.
Oh no, this is scary. I just heard the last one.
I promised our listeners that we would be learning things about what people probably don't really know about you, and they never knew. So this is an opportunity to educate them and to kind of create a little bit of a relationship with you and our audience. It's meant to be lighthearted.
Okay.
And try to answer them in 5 seconds if you can.
5 seconds. Oh no. Okay.
You all ready?
No, but go ahead.
What are your favorite hot and cold drinks?
Hot coffee, cold fizzy water.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to cook?
I love to cook hamburgers.
Hamburgers. What's your favorite place to visit in Washington State?
Washington State. Well, I can't say my town of Union, can I?
Nope.
I'd say the Ocean Shores.
Ocean Shores. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the most famous person you've ever met?
Met?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. I'll say Bill Monroe is famous in my mind anyway.
Okay. That would be.
And Tony Rice. Tony Rice.
Yeah, that's awesome. As a contractor, if you could buy any tool and cost was not an issue, what tool would you buy?
Ooh. What would that be? a CNC machine for a lathe for wood.
Yeah.
A CNC machine, yes.
Yeah, that's one of my desires too, and a lathe, those two.
Yeah.
So Kent is your bass player.
Mm-hmm.
Should Kent be a comedian, and should he get lessons?
Should he be a comedian or should he get lessons?
And should he get lessons?
He should be a comedian for sure. And yes, he needs to have lessons from all of us. He needs to be guided. We can't control him. I'm sorry.
I just asked that question because on stage, I see you guys bantering around about Kent, and it's just hilarious. So I had to ask that question. I love Kent.
We're opposites in that regard. I'm not an MC, so.
So, what would you say approximately is how many nights have you been on the road this year?
This year.
This year, yeah.
I'd say about a dozen.
A dozen, okay.
If I count the festivals I've gone to, and that we played at, yeah.
Okay. If you could buy any guitar, Greg, and price was not an issue, what guitar would you buy?
It would probably be a Martin HD 28.
That is the most common answer that I've had with all my interviews is a Martin D28. There's a D18 in there.
I have an 18.
Yeah. If you could choose one non-stringed instrument to play and be at a pro level to perform with that instrument, what instrument would it be?
Ooh. Oh. Could it be non-string?
Non-string. Put a little challenge in there for you.
It is a challenge. I guess it probably would be a one of the horn instruments. It's hard to think of a non-string one. Probably a trombone, not a trombone, a trumpet.
A trumpet? Okay. Who's your favorite bluegrass hero?
Tony Rice.
Tony Rice. And you're kind of out of camera there, Greg.
Oh, Tony Rice. I'm sorry.
It's okay. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, Brother.
A Brother with Arthur?
Yeah.
If you were not based out of your current location, is there a secondary place you might want to live?
Oh, shoot. Probably. Well, that's hard to say because I love Union. We got married and moved straight to Union, and that's where we've been up to Skokomish Valley, which is up the road from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the last of the Dirty Dozen questions, what's your favorite venue to play and why?
I really like small venues, actually. One of my favorite venues was right here in Union, called the Union Square Deli. It's a small venue, but the crowd was always attentive, and they loved bluegrass. I'd say small venues.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
One of my goals of our interviews is to help promote and help others to learn about Runaway Train. What would you like to share with our listeners? For example, do you have an upcoming event you want to promote, or do you have possibly an album coming out? Special places you'll be after a festival, or anything on your mind that would help promote Runaway Train?
We have 3 albums out. We don't have any of those available right now. The last one, which was our last iteration of the band before our current formation, sold out like really fast, and we haven't done new copies of it. But let's see. I think as far as promoting the band, I just feel like any events that are public, we'll just put out on Facebook, our Facebook page, which is Runaway Train Bluegrass, Facebook/Runaway Train Bluegrass. I just feel like I don't know whether we're going to be doing another album at any time soon. It's a big deal to get us all together. Actually, Jackson engineered our last album, He did a phenomenal job, and it sold out like boom, gone.
Awesome.
I mean, I'll promote our festival, Bluegrass from the Forest. This will be our 18th year coming up next July, and we will be playing at that festival as always. We're the host band. And what we do at our festival is, I hire, I try to hire a younger demographic, which I've been doing. We had Crying Uncle, we had AJ Lee and Blue Summit, bands like that. They're younger category, and we're actually getting a younger demographic at our festivals now. So we have quite a few millennials.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a few younger people coming in, and for the first time. So I would say come to our festival, see us and the other bands that we have.
What's the date of your festival, so everyone knows?
It'll be July 7th, 8th, and 9th next year.
2023.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, before we close, Greg, if you only had one message to provide to your fan base and those listening today, what would it be?
So one method to what?
So if you only had one message to provide to your fan base, what would it be?
Teach your children to like bluegrass and teach them good habits. I mean, anyone that comes to bluegrass festivals, in my opinion, is a good person. And stay away from the politics.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, I just want to thank you for taking the time today to meet with us to help promote our festival, which is the North Cascades Bluegrass Festival happening next weekend. And I appreciate your time and the effort in getting prepped. And I wish you the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Really appreciate it. And I appreciate your festival. I've gone to several of them, and it's one of the best.
Appreciate that. Take care. Have a great weekend.
See you next week.
Adios.
Thank you.